Sounds good. Thanks so much. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. My name is Luke Stokes. I'm the Managing Director for the Foundation for Interwallet Operability. We call it FIO or FIO. Both are used. Essentially, we're about making crypto products easier so anyone can use them. A little bit about myself. I got involved in blockchain in January of 2013. Spent $50 and got 2.5 Bitcoin, which was not a bad deal at all. And from there, I ended up being a block producer on the Steam, which is now the Hive blockchain. I was also a block producer on EOS via EOS DAC, very passionate about DACs and DAOs. And I sold my business after 10 years, an e-commerce shopping cart company called FoxyCart, to focus on consulting in the blockchain space. And I ran into this project and was just really excited about it. So I started working with them, became the chief decentralization officer as a consultant. And eventually, after they got their funding, they moved to structure the foundation in a little more organized way, and I was asked to be the managing director in December. So to tell the story, we'll start off with Dapix is the company, the VC-backed company that built the first version of the FIO protocol. That round was led by Binance Labs, and as you can see here, we have plenty of wallets, exchanges, members of the cryptocurrency ecosystem that have already said that they're going to implement the FIO protocol. And so we're very excited about that. Those 28 members actually got on board even before our mainnet launch, which happened on March 26th, and the chain was activated on April 3rd. So to start, I want to tell a little bit of story here about the internet. The internet was around for about 10 years, and it was not usable. There wasn't a lot of adoption because there wasn't a usability layer to make sense of what it was. People would say, what is internet? Where is internet? And then when HTTP came around, you have the ability for the World Wide Web, web browsers, you have that Netscape moment or that Mozilla moment where all of a sudden developers and users can say, okay, I can understand what this is. I can build cool stuff on this. And from that moment on, you see an incredible adoption of internet tools and internet products. And I feel like the blockchain space is in a very similar way right now. Bitcoin, blockchain been around for 10 years prior to the FIO protocol existing. Now FIO protocol exists, and we're going to see some excitement. So we did some surveys of a couple hundred different users, and we found out that almost all of them, and if you've ever interacted with blockchain yourself, you probably are in this category, are less than fully confident when they send tokens or coins. More than half of them have had problems during a transaction, and even up to 18% have actually lost funds due to the complexities of dealing with public addresses on blockchains. And even 6% actually ran into man-in-the-middle attack. And that's where in between you sending out your public address to your friend, either through email or a QR code or something like that, and them receiving it, someone injects themselves in the middle and replaces that public address with an attacker public address so the funds get sent to the wrong place. FIO protocol is a usability layer for all blockchains. It's not a wallet, it's not a product, it's not really even a service, it's a protocol. So it's a running blockchain. It's an industry-led consortium of wallets, exchanges, and the system is designed to benefit the participants. The tokenomics are designed that those who participate in the network actually get to collect the fees for the network. There's self-sovereign user control of the addresses and domains that make up the FIO protocol. It's decentralized and distributed as an open blockchain. And it's independent of other blockchains, meaning the blockchains themselves don't have to integrate with it. It's completely blockchain and wallet agnostic. It's just the wallet layer solution that integrates with FIO, which then enables every blockchain that's in those wallets to use the FIO protocol. And the main features of the FIO protocol as a decentralized service layer are FIO addresses, FIO requests, and FIO data. As a little graphic here shows, instead of dealing with the public addresses on Ethereum or Bitcoin or EOS, instead, you would just deal with a name like Jane at Gold or Luke at Stokes, and that would map to whatever address you're using on that blockchain. So we'll start with FIO addresses. It's one identity for all your cryptocurrency. So instead of having to manage all these different addresses, I can just have Luke at Stokes. And it's a single identifier that eliminates the need to see or even know about public addresses. So essentially, the more FIO gets adopted, the more it rolls out, the more people aren't even going to think about public addresses with big, long, crazy hash strings. And I think that's going to be similar to how people don't type in IP addresses or hand type SMTP commands. With the World Wide Web and HTTP, we have much easier ways to do things. It also includes FIO requests. So unlike other solutions which are just wallet naming, we're doing the entire routing of value as a protocol. So in all the years, more than 7 years now that I've been in the blockchain space, I think there's only been one time that I ever had money sent to me that I didn't expect. And it was one time I got money in my wallet and I was like, where the heck did this come from? Turns out it was an invoice I'd sent like 2 months ago and there was no agreement on how they were gonna pay me. And so it kind of surprised me. to have this Bitcoin just show up in my wallet. But prior to that, every single transaction that I've ever done in the crypto space for 7 years has always initiated with a request. And so we've just standardized that. So you get a nice little notification in your wallet and it says, this is from so-and-so, this is the token that the chain they want to use, this is the amount, and here's some information, some metadata about what that transaction's about. And that's the third major piece in the initial version of the protocol, which is FIO data. And FIO data, it's standardized metadata across any blockchain because it's right there in the wallet. And so it could be an invoice, it could be an order card, it could be any kind of structured data, JSON data, any kind of data you want. And it gives you the why. So as you know, if you're using cryptocurrency, you really have to be your own bank. And unlike your credit card statement where it has all that nice metadata to tell you what's going on, unless you keep track of this yourself, it's just really, really difficult. So this creates a secure private way to do that. And it's done between those two parties with shared keys. So it's fully encrypted on chain and you can recover it as you restore your wallet. You can recover all that information, that history of those transactions you've had with that FIO address. As you can see, we've got a lot of wallets in our ecosystem that are already working to integrate the protocol. Scatter Wallet just announced, I think yesterday or the day before, they just released their latest version. Trust Wallet, Edge Wallet, and Garda Wallet, you can already register domains and FIO addresses right now, which is pretty exciting considering we just launched the blockchain just this month. And we have a bunch of other partners that are working on their wallet integrations. We also have exchanges that are working on their integration, as well as payment processors, applications, and even protocols. And I'm very excited about, we have a couple more protocols I didn't include here because it's not quite public yet, but very excited about protocol integrations because then those blockchains don't have to continue working on usability solutions for adoption of their blockchain. They can offload that to the FIO protocol, and then whatever wallet they, or exchange or payment processor or whatever they end up integrating with, they immediately get that usability layer. I'm just going to do a brief overview of the token distribution, which might be interesting to some people. 35% of the tokens were given to the DAPX cap table. That includes the investors, employees, and advisors. The rest of the tokens are broken down between the foundation, an airdrop, private pre-sale, and also 125 million tokens are set aside for address giveaways. And this is a really important part of our adoption strategy, is that as we integrate with wallets, exchanges, and payment gateways, on those domains for those companies, we're going to be giving away a lot of addresses, and those will be paid for on chain by tokens that are locked up and set aside for that purpose by the foundation. Similar to how PayPal and other companies have given away a lot of things in order to get the adoption. And then over time, there's another 30% or so of tokens that are minted, and that includes user bounties. So I'll get into the fees a little bit, but when a transaction is paid for, it's about $2 for a FIO address and about $40 for a FIO domain. 85% of those tokens go to the block producers. 10% go to the wallet or exchange or service layer that provided that transaction, and 5% goes back to the foundation. While these tokens exist, these 125 million for new user bounties, while those exist, those will be minted to increase that 10% all the way to an additional 40% for 50% total. So there's a huge incentive right now for wallets and exchanges and payment gateways to integrate with FIO because they get a big portion of the tokens that are going to be minted. There's also block producer reserves to ensure that as transactions happen early on in the network today, there isn't as many tokens to support those block producers. So if there's ever less than 50,000 tokens in fees in a given day, this will mint additional tokens to ensure those block producers are well supported and they can run high quality infrastructure. This is kind of a breakdown of the tokens at full distribution, which would be never more than 1 billion tokens. And you can see all of this information on our knowledge base at kb.fioprotocol.io. And this is the token release schedule. So I mentioned the DAPX cap table, advisors, investors. They are under the same token lock as the FIO members who are essentially incentivized to integrate the protocol prior to, I think they've got about 6 months longer to go. And those tokens are locked up for them until they finish their integration. Once they finish that integration, then that unlock schedule is available, and whatever tokens have unlocked according to the schedule, they can now access in liquid form. So this is again a breakdown, and it's also available on the knowledge base. So the protocol economics are essentially users come to purchase a FIO address or FIO domain right in their wallet, or they link out to their open source registration website, and they pay with whatever currency they have in their wallet, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, something like that. The payments are made, and then on chain, the foundation or the wallet, if they want to host the registration site themselves, actually registers on chain, you paying the fee in FIO. And as we said earlier, 10% of that is distributed to the wallet or crypto enabled endpoint, 5% goes to the foundation, and 85% goes to the block producers. And that user bounty increases that 10% to an additional 40% for a total of 50%. So it's great incentives right now for early adopters. Some of those FIO tokens will be retained for voting for block producers, and then some of them will be sold back into the market by the block producers and the foundation. As you can see here, we've got a lot of market support, people like Paul Pui, Eric Voorhees, industry leaders that are very excited about FIO and talking about it and integrated it into their products. And so I won't read all these for you, but you can go to the website and see other examples of this as well. And I want to quickly show just some screenshots of our knowledge base, which is really extensive. There's some really great information there. And again, that's kb.fioprotocol.io, as well as our developer hub. Everything about what we're doing is open source. The API, SDKs, all of that is available right now. And as I said, the mainnet launched on March 26th and was activated April 3rd. So we are completely live. We are ready for your integration. If you're working on a crypto-enabled product, we are certainly interested in talking with you. Exchanges, payment gateways, wallets, protocols themselves. We'd love to incentivize your community with giveaways and letting them integrate this product so that it's usable across the board for the whole ecosystem. My name is Luke Stokes. You can reach me at luke@fioprotocol.io and also at Luke Stokes on Twitter and on Telegram. And I think I nailed that about 10 minutes, so I'm happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, that was great. I'll open up. You say block producers. Can you talk about your blockchain or the technology you're using?
Definitely. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of show some of the stuff in the background as I'm speaking here. So our blockchain is based on EOS.io. So it's actually, the block production is similar to what you'd see in EOS.io. It's also similar to what you see on Hive as well. It's a delegated proof of stake chain with 21 block producers and 21 paid backups. So it's very similar. So the token holders essentially get to participate in governance and decide who are going to be those block producers. We also can see here on the Block Explorer, these are our block producers that we launched with. Very, very excited that these are people I've known for years in the space, some of the most technically capable DPoS block producers, both from the Steam Hive community and from the EOS community. And these are people I've worked with directly with my experience as a block producer as well. So I'm very, very happy with their competence to run this chain effectively.
And then my follow-up, obviously this is heavy on business development. I know you said that there's a lot of incentives, but how did you, like Binance and some of these companies, how do you just approach them and say, hey, you know, we're one of, you know, there's probably 4 or 5 different projects trying to do this, but maybe not as well. How do you kind of say like, hey, you know, we might be the standard, we're the one to use versus...
Yeah, it's a great question that I could spend probably too long answering it. I think there are a number of reasons why we have a really compelling offering. One of them is the tokenomics of the system, the fees. Those wallets and exchanges and gateways, a lot of them have no kind of revenue model right now. There isn't a mechanism for a wallet to make money. And so this mechanism is that they integrate with FIO protocol, and the more and more people start using FIO on their wallet, they start to collect those fees. It's called a TPID, a technology provider ID. Every transaction links back to who enabled that transaction, and they get those fees. And especially with those user bounties, that's a big increase. And also too, a lot of these other solutions are kind of wallet naming solutions where we consider ourselves more as a value routing protocol, everything leading up to the sending and receiving of value. Because the wallet naming only solves part of the usability problem. It doesn't solve the entire problem. With our FIO request and FIO data and additional things we're going to be doing like multi-signature routing, subscriptions, there's a lot of different other features that we're going to extend in the protocol. Also, a lot of these are done in kind of the DNS model where things have to remain public because you have to be able to see that IP address in plain text, for example. We're working more towards making it as secure and private as possible. So our FIP number 5, actually the FIO improvement proposal number 5 is all about our friend request system, where it's going to keep things completely secure between the two parties. So right now, all the data, you know, in the FIO request is encrypted, but you still can tell that these two people interacted. And currently, the mappings to public addresses on chain are still public. But we're working to make that as secure and as private as possible. So there's a shared key between those two interactions.
All right, I'll open it up to any other questions now.
Hey, Luke, it's Michael Turpin. Can you see me, hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. So question on just sort of tokenomics and scarcity. How many of the tokens are going to be sort of available for the general public to use or buy through exchanges? And how many tokens is someone going to typically use in the course of, you know, a year, if that's the main way that they, you know, get their crypto from all of the various blockchains that participate with you?
Great questions. Thank you. Yeah, it's right now we're under strict NDA, so we can't talk about our upcoming listing agreements and exchange agreements, but we're very, very excited about that. It's going to be quite interesting. So what I can talk about is kind of as these tokens are distributed, and also I should be very clear for any U.S. investors watching, this is currently unavailable for U.S. investors, sadly, but you can, a year from now or more, we can have those conversations again. This is an offer, the different things we're doing right now, this token is essentially for non-U.S. people. We've been very careful to make sure that we're doing everything according to the proper authorities. But as the token distribution will work out, it's going to depend on, as far as the token usage, on what actor you are in the space. So for example, if you're an everyday user, just a wallet user, when you pay that $2 a month, $2 a year, that's about 40 tokens, if I get into the fees here, 40 tokens, and those tokens give you 100 what we call bundled transactions. So an everyday user is never gonna actually experience the pain of like dealing with gas like you do on Ethereum or other blockchains where you have to pay a fee to interact with the chain, because it's just pulling from that bundle. That's what these bundled transactions are about, just pulling from that bundle. And the same thing with the domain is it's about $40 a year if you want a domain. So if you have a business, you can get your FIO domain. I got the Stokes domain, for example, during the pre-sale. So I'm able to get Luke@Stokes as my address. And then as I use that, as I send requests, as I map my public addresses to that account, I don't even have to worry about paying fees. Now, if you're an Amazon or you're a large crypto endpoint that's been doing lots and lots and lots of transactions, then clearly for all of these requests for send and all that information that's happening on chain, you're going to have to purchase more FIO in order to support it. But it's similar to buying credits on AWS or anything like that. You're essentially buying time from the blockchain to support your infrastructure. And it's really compelling for exchanges, especially because of all the money they spend right now dealing with customer support with deposits and withdrawals and the complexity of dealing with that. We're going to greatly simplify that process quite a bit.
So if one of the, just part two, or a follow on, if you said you're not having to pay fees, but the fees are still paid on the blockchain that you're interacting with, they're just kind of hidden in the backdrop?
Yeah, in a sense, and if we look at the fees here, in a sense, some of them are prepaid because when you buy that domain, for example, or you buy that address, you pay your 40 FIO. That is not bundle eligible, so you have to really pay that with actual tokens. Okay. But then after that, if you're adding a public address, that is going to come out of the bundle transaction. So it's going to use one of your 100 bundle transactions. If you do a new funds request, that's going to use 2 of your bundle transactions. So it's essentially just prepaying.
Sorry to interrupt, but I think I either riffing off that, but I mean, if I'm sending Bitcoin, I still have to pay the Bitcoin transaction fees, right?
Yes, so, yes. So a really important point to make sure that I explain.
Hold on one second.
FIO doesn't actually send value on any of the lower level chains. It's only a wallet layer solution. Let's make sure that's clear.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. So once you get that FIO request and you say, yeah, I want to go ahead and send that Bitcoin, then in your wallet, it moves right over to the actual normal sending process for that wallet. So there's some great sample wallet UX here. And actually, you can download Edgewallet pretty soon and actually see this. But you can walk through the entire process of what it looks like here. But once it actually sends the crypto, it's just a normal process that you'd have right in your wallet like normal. And it would send it and sign it just like normal.
Did we have any other questions? Because I can ask another one. I'm really excited about this. When you say integration, does this mean I can buy a name in the wallet?
Yes, actually it does. So both the Trust Wallet and the Edge Wallet and the Scatter Wallet have that.
Sorry. Part A would be I can buy a name in the wallet, and the part B would be if I'm on an exchange that has that integration, I could buy the tokens and then buy the name. Or how would that process work? Like, I'm using Scatter Wallet. I need FIO tokens. Do I have to buy it somewhere else and then send it into the wallet and then register? Or
no, that's the beauty of the system is our open source registration website accepts Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDT, like a whole bunch of different tokens. And you write from your wallet, and you could do this right today. You could download Edge Wallet, Trust Wallet, or Scatter Wallet. There's a link right there that says, I'd like to register an address or I'd like to register a domain. And it links out right in that wallet or off the wallet into your browser. And you go through a very simple process that shows you, okay, here, and you get to type in, here's what I'd like. It checks if it's available. If it's available, you pay for it. And it goes through the confirmations, and then it shows up right in your wallet right then. So you have that address. It's pretty sweet.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I've been waiting for something like this a long time, obviously. It's just,
I think we all have. I think anyone who's been in the space for a while is just realizing like I build all these cool projects, DAX and DAOs and all these neat things, but dang, if it's not easy to use, no one's going to use it, right? We have to improve usability for mass adoption. It's one of the
well,
two major problems in the space.
I use a lot of everyday things like, a lot of the exchanges and things that you integrate with. I don't really like having to switch around and do one thing for, like you said, it's like with the DNS, but it's a little bit more than that. But yeah, thank you so much.
If you check out the website, the explainer
Yeah.
video is there. There's also up here on the top, there's a demonstration. So you can see a demo video of how it actually works in a wallet. Happy to answer any questions. Like I said, I'm Luke Stokes on Twitter and Luke Stokes in Telegram. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Great.